Hello, everyone. I'm Fozzie or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How are you doing today, Will?
I'm doing great, Cam. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. We got a exciting night ahead of us, Will. It's 7:10 Eastern down here in Massachusetts, and in just 50 minutes, Stranger Things Season 5, the final season, Volume 1, will be released. 4 episodes, about 4 hours of Stranger Things content. After years of nothing, it's back. So now in 49 minutes, the clock is ticking. In 49 minutes, we'll have access to 4 episodes of Stranger Things. So obviously, we're here to literally just talk about our predictions. We're going to break down just some of the trailers, some of the thoughts we had regarding the trailers. But right off the bat, I kind of want to touch on some predictions we have for the shows. And more specifically, I think this is something a lot of people have been discussing, a topic that a lot of people have weighed in on, and that's who do we think is going to die this season? And it's an especially prevalent question just because it's the last season, and if there's a time for people to die, it's now. But for me, I kind of want to preface this by saying, look at Game of Thrones. It does. If you're not familiar, Game of Thrones. Spoiler alert. I guess a lot of people die in the TV show finale of Game of Thrones. A lot of the characters die. That received a lot of negative backlash from the community. So I think just TV shows in general really wanted to avoid that. So a bunch of deaths is probably not gonna be what's in store. But I think at least every volume will have so 2 volumes. I don't think there'll be a death in the finale. Um, but I think there will be reasonably 2 to 3 deaths. Um, I did make some predictions. I kind of went with more than that just to kind of have a little safety net behind it. So right off, I think Jonathan is gonna die. I think this is evident just because of how little he's kind of in these trailers. It kind of makes sense for him to die. I mean, he's not just gonna let his brother get possessed by Vecna, so he's gonna put up a fight. I don't think he could possibly win that fight. So yeah, I think it's possible that that he dies. Next, I think it's possible that we lose Joyce, which would be very sad. But I mean, her whole role has been to protect Will, and I've heard people say that they think Will is going to die, but I think it's kind of the opposite. I think as one final sacrifice, Joyce will do something to maybe save Will, and by making the ultimate sacrifice, which would be heartbreaking because I mean, she's a great character. She's one of the best parts of the show. She has some of the best emotional moments in the show. Winona Ryder really has played a big part in what makes this show this good. I've heard some rumors about Murray dying. Um, I don't know. I'm not completely sold. I don't think he's gonna die in Volume 1. But it would definitely be sad to see him go. I think he's a funny character, but I'm not gonna put him on my list. But next on my list is and this is kind of my last one, is Nancy Wheeler. Just because I think I've been rewatching episodes of Stranger Things, and I rewatched season 4, and I think a lot of people forget that Nancy did get possessed by Vecna. And Vecna did save her life, but the fact that he possessed, and I guess maybe it was just to kind of communicate with Eleven or whatever, but who's to say it couldn't happen again? I mean, if that's happened once and he let her live, I don't know if she'll be that lucky this time, especially after setting him on fire, and especially after some of those really emotional shots with blood in her hands in the trailer, but that probably isn't her blood, but we'll see. Um, Just one honorable mention. I think Mrs. Wheeler might die just because the disappearance of episode is heavily speculated to be Holly Wheeler, as she's featured in the trailers, hiding, and that's just been kind of a rumor for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a death from Mrs. Wheeler either. Well, do you have any death predictions?
I mean, I 100% think someone, at least one person, is going to die because they do have a theme of kind of having at least one prominent death per season, whether it's Barb in season one or Bob in season two or Billy in season three or Eddie in season four. They do have a theme of always having at least um, one prominent death in the show, but I'm just unclear about whether maybe they're gonna introduce a new character in season five and have that character died like they did with Eddie in season four, or are they going to take the leap and actually kill off a character who has been a massive part of the show throughout its entire run? And my honest answer is I'm going to need to watch it to figure out what they do because I don't know how the Duffer Brothers' minds work. Their minds could be thinking, okay, we're going to introduce a new character and then kill that character off, but we're not going to kill off any of the prominent characters because we don't want to break the fans' hearts because they all love those characters so much. Or they could be thinking, okay, it's been 5 seasons. We haven't, killed off a prominent character like a Joyce or an 11 or a Popper yet. And now that it's the final season to really up the emotional stakes, this is the time to do that. So I think there's absolutely going to be at least one prominent death, as has been the case in all the other seasons. But I don't know if it'll be a newer character or if the Duffer Brothers are actually going to kill off a core member of the show. I don't know what to expect because I don't know how their minds work and I don't know how their brains are thinking, and I can't
That's
put
fair.
myself inside their mind, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, for sure. And one other thing I'm kind of wondering is, remember that one episode of Stranger Things with what was it like 11's like the people with powers? You know what I'm talking about? The
Oh yeah.
what were they called? The Dark Sisters or something? Ah, man. But we all remember that one episode in season two of Stranger Things where
Yep.
11 meets other people with powers. That episode was not very positively received by the Stranger Things community. And I mean, I kind of want to say rightfully so, but I mean, it also wasn't that bad, you know. I had some good feelings about it. I thought it was a cool concept, I guess, but I, do is it possible that they come back this final season? I mean, it makes sense for them to come back just from a story perspective. They can't just leave that plot hole hanging. But people will probably be upset if they do bring him back just because of how many people just hated that storyline and hated that episode and just don't love season two in general. I mean, I know for me it's one of the weaker seasons, partially because of that episode. Just in comparison to some of these other episodes, it's just not as good, you know? Um, do you think that's possible, Will?
Um, like that, those characters from that episode could be brought back.
Yeah, just from like a story perspective, they kind of have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm unclear on that. I mean, I could definitely see them doing it because this is the final season, and kind of as a way to tie all those
Those
storylines
fans, yeah.
to tie all the storylines together. I could potentially see those characters be brought back, but then I also can't be 100% sure because not that I dislike that episode. I think there are good aspects to that episode. That episode to me just feels so different from any other Stranger Things episode. It just has like a totally different vibe and feel to it and just feels so distant from everything else going on in the show in ways that all of the other episodes haven't. So I could see them possibly bringing those characters back, But also, if that's not a very well received episode, I could also see them being like, the fans didn't really vibe with those characters from that particular episode, so we're going to hold off on exploring those characters further.
Yeah, I could see it going both ways, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I'm just if they play a big role, there's significant backlash, they could be facing. Something I think could be possible and would be an easy way. Do you know how in season 4 Joyce and Hopper went back to the prison
That's right, yeah.
because they kind of helped defeat the hive mind? That could kind of be the role they played. They could be separated from the group and not heavily involved, but they could also show them helping in a different sort of way. So we have some idea of where they are, but that also means they don't have to be central characters, which, a lot of people just don't want to see. Another theory I have I kind of want to share. I think it's possible that scene of Will getting possessed and of Vecna kind of coming back with the flamethrowers and stuff that we've seen in the trailers. Here's what I think, Will. I mean, we'll see. In almost half an hour, we'll see. I think the show will open with the flashback with Will as seen, and then that scene will happen. Will get possessed right off the bat. Vecna will come back right off the bat. It either starts or maybe ends like that. I don't know, but I mean, the Duffers have said this season there's nothing. There's no buildup. We're here. It's time. We're going. We've been going. All that buildup. That was what season 4 was, and that's crazy because that was a crazy season. So. That's that's how to start it with a bang. But that also brings the possibility of a death right away, which would be tragic. And I kind of hope they don't do that because if someone like Steve died quick, like pretty early in the show, not only would that be heartbreaking because you don't want him to die, but then you won't get to like watch him for the rest of the season. Like, Steve is one of the things that draws me to Stranger Things. I don't know who else. Max draws me to Stranger Things. Dustin draws me to Stranger Things. It would just make me kind of want to watch the show less. I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but I'll just be thinking, I wish this character was here. And I don't know. I feel like that's just something that comes with having a big show where deaths are completely up in the air and completely possible for anyone. No one's really safe right now. Trailers. Well, we have some trailers for this show that we haven't discussed. I know you've had some opinions here. I think you've discussed them on other episodes of the podcast. You were a fan of the date announcement trailer. Can you just
Loved
explain
it.
your whole mindset with that trailer and these other ones that have been released?
Sure, yeah. So we've gotten four in total now. The date announcement, the next two, and then the most recent one, which was a trailer just specifically for Volume One. What I appreciated about the about the date announcement trailer is that it starts with an intimate scene between Joyce and Will. They are in conversation, and there's just a tense, bone chilling feel to it the whole time. And then it ends with just a terrifying moment of Will Byers screaming, "Run." And it's not that any of the next three trailers, I mean, I don't think any of the next three trailers have been bad in any way. I just feel like it's more going for the action and things going on left and right. And I feel like the date announcement teaser had a more intimate feel to it with opening with showing Joyce and Will in conversation, Joyce saying something to Will, a super tense feel to it all throughout, and then Will Byers screaming "run" at the end. I just feel like the other trailers have just had a lot more going on with a lot more action and less of those quiet, more intimate character moments. So for that reason, I was much more drawn to the date announcement trailer than any of the last three that they came out with.
I see what you're saying, But you said something before to me, you know. It was that there was a lack of these intimate moments that were present in these other seasons in this and that could lead to you not liking it. I don't think you can even come close to making that prediction, you know? I mean, the trailers I think are gonna show action, are gonna show intense scenes, and are I think obviously probably not gonna show the more intimate scenes. And I don't know. I was a fan of these trailers. I think they do their job, but they are tasked with revealing next to nothing about what the story actually is. And I mean, every conversation is probably going to have some sort of big spoiler about, I don't know, a question that we have to answer or whatever. Um, But speaking of questions we have to answer, the Duffers posed us. Also, I don't know if anyone noticed that transition to topic, sort of. Just another thing we've been working on here on the podcast. I don't know if you've seen any other episodes. Transitions are definitely a big thing here. You know, for the first couple years of the podcast, transitions were horrible. Now they're better. So rewatch other episodes, like the newer episodes, and you'll see how good the transitions have become. Anyways, um, the Duffers have posed us with two questions. One, what really is the Upside Down? We know kind of what it is. We know 11 created it that fateful day with Henry Creel. But on a deeper level, we're going to learn what it is. And also, we're going to learn why Will Byers was taken. Well, why do you think Will Byers was taken?
That,
Like it's almost
yeah,
impossible to have a good
it,
answer for it.
yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible to have a good answer for sure. But I mean, I just think there's gonna be something about him that connected that connects to he that character must have some type of connection to Vecna and Eleven that hasn't been revealed before because you don't see any other, like, you don't see Mike getting possessed by um Vecna, you don't see Lucas or Destin getting possessed by Vecna. There's something specifically about Will, so I don't know what exactly it is, but I think the reason, he was abducted and taken into the Upside Down is because he I think he has some type of connection to Vecna and 11 in that whole storyline that hasn't been revealed yet, and I think they're going to have some bombshell reveal at some
Oh,
point
I'm
throughout the
sure. I'm
season.
sure there's going to be some twist. Personally, I think I don't know. He's always gone over. Vecna's always gone for victims, and people with kind of trauma and traumatic backstories. And I guess that's true with Will. I mean, he was kind of bullied in high school. His father, kind of not great. Didn't live in an amazing household. I mean, Joyce tried her best, but still not amazing. Um, that could be part of it for sure. I mean, but I'm sure there's going to be some sort of twist or deeper reveal. Maybe Will's father is connected to it somehow. Maybe Joyce secretly somehow is connected to it. I don't know. But I mean, that's the closest I'm going to come. I think it's possible that it's just because of the trauma he endured when he was younger, and Vecna tends to target more vulnerable people. Um, but that is kind of a long shot for Vecna just because how would he know this would all line up like this? Who knows? Um, I think it'll be very interesting to see how these questions are answered, and they are very hard questions for us to answer. On another note, we have two sort of spin-offs coming out. I believe we talked about the animated one, which will be taking place between seasons 2 and 3, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah, that has me thinking it'll probably be a more small scale story, just because I mean it just doesn't make sense that they wouldn't have mentioned it in the actual seasons. So just for, just for continuity's sake, they can't have it be a big major life-changing event just because, it wouldn't really make sense. And then we've also got confirmed that there's going to be an anthology Stranger Things spin-off series, live action, made by the Duffers, and that will also be very interesting to see play out. Are you at all interested in these spin-offs? Mostly, I think for me, mostly I'm interested in the live action one, just because I don't know. I just feel like that's more real to me because, these guys aren't coming back to voice act as these characters anymore. So it's just gonna be a different experience watching that. But how do you feel about these spin-offs? Well,
Yeah, so my feelings on both of them are exactly the same. Both of them are in prove it to me mode from the standpoint of there are certain cases, there are certain franchises that are able to come back with multiple sequels like the Rocky and Creed franchises and have them be consistently engaging and consistently worth watching. So maybe Stranger Things will be one of those things. Maybe they will be a universe to where even though the original series is over, there will be more series and more stories worth being told. But we've also seen with other franchises and other series how, there'll be other sequels and other spin-offs or other prequels, and it'll just get dragged on and on and on and become a shell of what it originally was. And with this anthology live action spin-off series, it's been revealed to have all new characters than the characters from the original Stranger Things series. So my question with that is, will this live action spinoff be worth it? Will it be worth it getting introduced to new characters, or should the Duffer Brothers have just kept it with the characters from the original series? And then with this animated series taking place between seasons 2 and 3, featuring, even though they'll be voiced by different people than the actors who play them in Stranger Things, taking place between seasons 2 and 3 and featuring a bunch of the characters from the Stranger Things series. My question is there more story to be told? There, like I feel like seasons 1 through 5 have all followed a continuous arc. So is there going to be a way to add in more story between seasons 2 and 3, which is why I think you're onto something, Cam, with it being more minor scale. And then are these characters going to feel the same in animation compared to live
that's
action,
my
and
question.
and are they going to feel the same voiced by different actors than the
Yeah,
people who play them in Stranger Things? We've seen Star Wars. We saw Star Wars make a very successful transition from the Rebels series to bringing those characters into live
yeah.
action with Ahsoka. Thrawn was obviously played by the same actor, but there were other characters like Sabine and Hera who were played by different actors than the people who voiced them in the Rebel series. But they did a great job moving those characters from animation into live action. So, look, I love Stranger Things. I hope both of these series are great, but both are in prove it to me mode right now for those reasons.
100%. Is there a trailer out for the animated one?
There isn't a trailer out for it, but
Okay.
there's like a little 1 minute video with the Duffer Brothers and the other creators behind the show, just talking about it a bit and revealing some details about it. The
Okay.
the biggest details being it's coming out next year, taking place between seasons 2 and 3.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And before we wrap up this episode, I have one final prediction, Will.
All right.
I think Netflix is gonna crash. I think that's a very possible thing. I think we're gonna be delayed, I don't know, 20 minutes because Netflix is gonna be flooded with viewers and it's either gonna be very glitchy, which would just be horrible, or it's gonna kick us completely. So Netflix, it's like a prayer to the Netflix gods.
Yes.
I mean, we're paying for the streaming service for goodness sake, and we just gotta hope. We just gotta hope and pray that we're able to seamlessly watch this. And I'm just remembering, I have the cheap version of Netflix, therefore I also have ads,
Oh yeah.
which is gonna be terrible. Oh man, that's horrible. That's awful. Oh my goodness. Ah, all right. I'm watching 4 episodes of Stranger Things in less than half an hour, Will. 25 minutes. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you. We'll see you after.